In this video, I am going to be showing you how to work a yarn over at the beginning of the row. This is a technique that is used in a Shetland hap, which is a traditional Shetland shawl, when you're working from the center outwards. And it's a method that I've used for a lot of different shawl designs of mine that use this kind of construction. But working a yarn over at the beginning of a row can feel a little bit odd if you haven't done that before. So this video is just going to demonstrate how to do that. Usually you're starting with one stitch on the needle. Usually it's just a slip knot that you've made and placed on the needle. In some of my patterns, you start with the slip knot and then you knit into the front and the back of it first to make 2 stitches before beginning. But either way, after that point, you are starting every row with a yarn over. So to form that yarn over, you're basically just letting the working yarn sit on top of the right hand needle. And I'm just going to hold it in place there with my index finger as I go ahead and knit that first stitch that's on the needle. And now I have 2 stitches. That's basically the first row. And then every row is going to begin with the same thing, yarn over at the beginning. You're just letting that working yarn sit on top of the needle. What you want to try and avoid doing is to come behind the yarn and wrap it like this. That feels like it's going to be more secure and it will make an extra stitch, a yarn over stitch, but it tends to make it sit very close to the work, which is not what we want for the purposes of this. So just let it sit on top of the right hand needle and then go ahead and knit. And usually in my patterns that call for this, I have you knit into the back leg of the last stitch of every row after the first row you've worked. And that's because it is the yarn over that you made on the previous row, and it just tightens it up a little bit. So yarn over and then knit. And it also might be the case that depending on the pattern you're working from, you might actually have other lace stitches happening as you're working this construction. So that would be outlined in the pattern. It might be a chart that you're following. So again, yarn over is just letting the working yarn sit on top of the right hand needle, working across the stitches as per your pattern, and then usually you're knitting the last stitch through the back leg. So it's going to start to form these nice noticeable yarn over loops at the outside edges of your work. And I'm knitting English style, so I'm throwing, but if you were knitting continental and you had the yarn in your left hand, you would essentially just be catching it like this and then coming forward to knit like so. And then this is essentially what you want it to look like. After you've worked a few rows, you should be noticing these yarn over loops down each side of your triangle.